So before I start this video, I'm going to take the time to remember to say thank you for watching my videos. I do, most of my videos are shorts, so I only get like 60 seconds, so I can't like that hone into it and go straight to it. And then when I do a video, a longer video, I'm still moving from the shorts perspective, and I forget to say thank you for subscribing and liking and sharing my videos. And so it looks like I'll be doing a little longer videos these days. That's how the energy is flowing for me right now. But this topic I want to talk to now is about now is it's actually a story I want to share with you. About when I was about 6 or 7 years old. Um, okay, we always did spring cleaning. We cleaned everything in the house twice a year. I mean, everything in the house got cleaned. Everything. The, the curtains came down, the windows got washed, the walls got washed, and when I say everything, I mean everything. In fact, we did it so much, and every year I still do that, right? And so, with this particular time, we had been cleaning for like 2 weeks, right? And we were done. That day was the day we were going to be done, right? And my mom was we were going to change the curtains, and each time we did that, something get new went up, something different changed, right? And but she needed a curtain rod put across the wall, because this time we were going to put the curtains across the whole wall instead of just on the window. So we were really excited about that, right? And so, but my dad was watching the game, right? And this was in the 60s. So there was no digital. There was no VCRs. There was no DVDs. If you missed sitting in front of the television watching something, you missed it. Okay. And so my mom's saying, well, I need you to put the curtain rod up so that we can get finished. We can do the next thing we got to do, right? Because it was like Christmas time, right? We were going to start cooking, right? And baking and things, right? And so, but my dad was like, well, I'm really watching the game right now. I'll do it when I get finished. As soon as the game goes off, I'll put the rod up. And my mom was like, but that means I'd have to like wait all day. And my dad was like, but I'll miss the game if I come put the rod up. I'll miss most of the or a lot of the game. And so, and for me, it was like that was a conundrum for me, because I seen both sides. I understood both sides. I understood that my mom, she was put on hold. If the rod didn't get put up, we couldn't go ahead and get finished with everything, right? And and um, and my dad, I seen that if he put the rod up, he would miss the game, and he would miss the game because it was television. And so I sat there and I thought about that. That really put me into myself, into my feelings and my thoughts. And it's like, wow. I was like, wow. Well, so I was like faced with, do I think he should get up and do it? I was like, well, no, I really don't think that he should get up and do it, because he will miss the game. So I said, but I do understand that she can't get this job finished until, which means, the furniture couldn't go bad, nothing. Everything was kind of like put on hold for the most part, right? I said, I understood both parts. So I was like, well, what would I do? I said, so can she really expect him to stop what he's doing to do that? Is that right? You know? And is he wrong for not getting up, doing it when she wants it done? I was like, well, no. He's not wrong for not getting up. And she can't really expect him to get up and do it. So I was like, wow, what would I do? I said, so the conclusion I came to was, okay, so if you want somebody to do something and they can't do it then, or they won't do it, ever do it, whatever, how do you get it done? So I decided that whatever I needed done in my life, I was going to know how to do it, whatever it was. If it was put a curtain rod up, if it was put something together, it didn't matter what it was. I had to turn within my 6-year-old self at the time that whatever I needed done in my life, I was going to be able to do it for myself, because either I was going to have to go without it being done, or I was going to have to wait on somebody. So I was like, well, if I don't want to wait on somebody to do it for me, then what do I have to? Then what's what the options? What my term at the time? But what will I do? You're either going to have to know how to do it yourself, or you're going to have to wait on somebody. So I decided that I didn't want to wait on anybody to get something done that I wanted done in my life. So from that moment on, I proceeded with learning everything. Everything I could learn, I learned. My dad was putting something together. I was right there with him, with screwdriver and nails and everything. Everything he did. If he was working on the car, I was next to him in the car and then looking at what he was doing, asking questions. What's this? What's that? My mom was doing something. Well, what's this? How do I fix this? And how do I do that? No matter who was working on something, I was there learning how to do that. So that's what I did all my life. So consequently, of course, I know how to do a whole lot of things, right? And but everything has to be balanced in life, you know? So as I got older, okay, the walls needed to be painted, I painted the walls. Ceiling fans needed to be I hung the ceiling fans. Whatever needed to be done, I learned how to do it and I did it. And but after a while, everything everything has to maintain a balance, you know? My grandmother once said to me, she said, "You don't ask." And I thought, what do you mean? You don't ask. You don't ask for anything. And I got to think, I thought about that, and I'm like, what do you mean? Ask for what? I mean, like, I want something done, I just do it. Because in my mind, in my 6-year-old mind, um, okay, the conclusion I came to is I had to do it for myself. But a part of that was you can't expect other people to do things for you. And then you can't wait on people either, you know? So my solution was to know how to do everything that I needed done in my life. And that's what I did. That's what I do. And but where it becomes an imbalance is after you do everything for yourself, people don't even offer to help. They figure, well, she'll get it. They'll do it, you know. And there's a ebb and flow to everything. You know, like I remember one time I was doing some decorating, right, and I was making something. I was making something to put on the wall. I think I was making a book, something to put on the wall. I forget what it was, but I had gotten all these supplies together, and I was creating, right. And I needed a particular type of thing to put on to attach this to the wall a certain way, right? And I couldn't. And I was went through my tool box and everything, all my little gadgets and stuff. I didn't find anything. I was like, well, and I couldn't really figure out, but I knew how I needed to. I knew how I needed it to hang on the wall, right? So I proceeded to get an L bracket and start to reshape it, right, to what I needed it to be. And after I reshaped it, I looked at it and I was like, this already exists. I couldn't figure out quite what it was, but I was like, this already exists. So I and then I realized, I think I went to bed that night and woke up the next day and I was telling one of my clients, right, at work, right. I said, girl, I was making this thing. I said, I learned a really valuable lesson yesterday. I said, I was hanging some stuff on the wall. I was making something, and I needed a particular gadget to work a certain way. So I told her how I got the L bracket, and I started changing it, reshaping it to make it do what I wanted it to do, and then I realized I was making a mirror holder. So she said, I said, yeah, I was making a mirror holder. And I looked at it, I said, this thing already exists. What is it? And it was a mirror holder. You know, the metal piece you put on the wall. Yeah. Okay. So then I was like, okay, so before you start going off into the zone of, not being held up by anything or anybody. So not only was the concept of not being held up by a person, I wasn't going to be held up by a thing either. If I needed a gadget that I didn't have, I was going to make something else work. And I've done that. I do that, right? However, it becomes an imbalance after a certain point, and that was a sign of the imbalance for me. So I was gotten so geared in going into making something and creating it so that I can get what I want done, that I was creating things that already existed. You know, this mirror holder in this particular point, right? At this particular moment, it was so I was like, so I decided that before I start making things, when I come up with these ideas and I start making them and constructing them and putting blueprints on paper of what I'm going to make, I need to first decide on if it already exists. So we had a laugh about that, and so, but when it comes to a relationship, you take that dynamic into a relationship, okay? And you're always doing something for yourself, and you're always fixing things, and you always got a hand. The person in that relationship with you won't ask if you need help, won't offer help, because it's like, you know, well, she'll get it done, you know. Not that you're supposed to be inept, so that people can offer you help, because I'm just a firm believer that I don't believe in bothering people, and it usually comes more stem from more of that than anything, that and the fact that I'm just not going to wait on anybody to get something done in my life, and I'm still like that because I don't think it should be any other way, but then it gets down to it comes down to, okay, if you're not going to get up and do what somebody wants you to do when they want you to do it, okay? You can't get upset if they don't wait on you. The flip side is, you can't get upset if they don't get up and do something when you want it done. You either wait or you do it yourself. The other side is, you either don't do it and you let them do it, and then you don't have a problem with the fact that they've done it. So yeah, so that was my story. That was when I realized that about myself some years ago. Um, it was quite enlightening. But I guess the whole moral of the story is, I guess there's a couple morals to the story actually. Uh, the first one is, you can't expect people to get up and do what you want done when you want it done, but they also can't expect you to wait. You know. So yeah. Hope that helps somebody, or enlighten somebody on that.